Dr. Sunny Fridge. Welcome to another edition of Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny, the show that helps you unleash your inner speaking superpowers. Each week, you get tips, tools, and techniques to help you become a better communicator. On this edition of Rise and Shine, an author shares why it's important not to miss the boat of opportunity. Plus, don't miss the opportunity to attend my free monthly Speak and Shine workshop. Stay tuned for the details. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, share in the comments below where you're watching from. If you're listening by podcast, subscribe so you never miss a show. If you enjoy our programs, please consider making a donation of any amount at wytv7.org to help our CBN broadcasters continue the mission to bring you programming that educates, empowers, and encourages. I believe we all have a purpose and the potential to live our best life. Often, speakers share their purpose and life experiences in a book. Maybe one day they hope to do a TED Talk. My guest has done both. Lea Tran is an inspirational speaker, a dynamic trainer, and author of I Did Not Miss the Boat. She has shared her story on many stages, including doing a TED Talk in 2019. Her goal, to bring her message of hope and courage to empower you to live your best life. Welcome, Lea. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Dr. Sunny, for the opportunity to be here.
So good to have you. Now tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
I came to this country as a penniless refugee as a teenager about 40 years ago. It's been a long journey, but since then I have been a medicinal chemist for 17 years and also a entrepreneur, businesswoman for 10 years. And the last 5 years I have been focusing on public speaking and writing my book. So that's where I am here right now.
And I want to congratulate you. You're already on your journey, well on your way. You actually did a TED Talk because you have a book that you recently published, but even before that, you were telling us your story on the stage. So tell us a little bit about how the TED Talk came about.
Well, I have to say I have come a long way. Speaking have never been an easy journey for me. Especially English was not my first language. I've already spoken like 3-4 different languages, starting with Chinese and Vietnamese and a little bit of French, and then English is almost like, something totally different. And I was always nervous about speaking in front of a crowd. But I have to say that Toastmaster for the last 4 years have given me a lot of courage, practicing in the safe space. So it's like little by little, I tell my story to the clubs, and that got me the courage to be in the bigger stage, and then really channeled the idea that I should not be afraid of telling my story, because I've got a lot of encouragement from other people and saying that they're curious. They want to hear what have I been through, because I did gone through a lot. Yeah, so that's where the TEDx I apply, and lo and below I apply and I get accepted. So
we're going to listen to just a little bit of I Did Not Miss the Boat, your TEDx.
Now, when the sun peeked over the horizon the next day, someone spotted a moving object from a distance. We were all excited and chased after that boat, hoping to get rescued. When we got closer, they jumped to our boat with guns. We had no idea we were chasing after pirates. They robbed everything they could find on us, destroyed the water and the food supply, and left us with a feeling of gut-wrenching loss of hope. But the worst was not yet over. We were assaulted 3 more times in the next few days. And in one of the raids, 2 of their big boats sandwiches our little boat in the middle and forcing us off and onto their boat for a thorough search. I was panicked because in the split second, my family was divided in 3 different boats, 3 different directions. A sheer horror ran through my head. I wasn't sure that they're going to abduct me, rape me, or kill me. Now, from the far end of the boat, I heard a woman scream hysterically, for she's being strip searched and humiliated in front of the whole entire boat. I was petrified. I'd held on tight to the guardrail of the boat and promising myself I would jump to the ocean if they ever violate me.
Wow, what a story already. Just tell us a little bit about your journey to come to America. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to share with our viewers and listeners how wonderful a story and your courage and bravery.
Well, it's really hard to tell that story because it's quite personal. But yes, that was a horrifying moment. But without that, we probably would never get to where I am here today. And we knew that my parent knew that once we get on the boat to go out to the sea, that was pretty much a sentence of death. But we did it anyway because we needed the freedom. And that was scary because I was 16 and witnessing women being strip searched on the pirates' boats and seeing how they treated, the people. It was really scary. And that was one of the most terrifying moment in my life. But I'm glad we did it. I'm glad that we took over that courage and did that because else I wouldn't be having the day that I'm having today.
What do you want people to know about your book? What's the message that you're trying to get out in terms of, I did not miss the boat?
We have a phrase here, right? Don't miss your boat. Or I missed the boat, right? So I literally didn't miss the boat, literally and figuratively, because for many years, I lived in a lot of regrets. Coming from the East culture, there's a lot of things that women shouldn't be speaking up. You should not do things that what you want, but you should be following the obligation, whatever the family needs. So many other obligations that I don't think it's just me. I think a lot of different culture and even a lot of women or men in this society are bind to. They go to a job that they didn't like. They sometimes marry the people they didn't like, but they felt stuck and they don't know what to do with it. So life is passing you by. And I think, we should not settle. We should not settle for what we think that we are inherited, because we have the power to actually control our life by seeking out. I have a formula that I help people how to find their courage and how to find a way so they can control. And I call it BYOB, build your own boat. Something that you don't have to stay in the sinking boat and the cracking boat. You can actually build your boat and get to a place where you want to be. So that's my message. Ultimately, that you have the power to not miss the boat because you can build one for yourself.
You also share some of the defining moments in your life because you still wanted to become the best version of yourself. I was reading part of the book. You are a chemist and you were responsible for patents.
Yeah, I mean, being in the research, so you do a lot of, finding it. That's what research is, right? Basic research. So we would do a chemical reaction and we will analyze and identify and hoping one of the compound would become a drug. So I was in many patents that in one of those AIDS projects, but it's still, it was a career that I think I settled because I didn't want to worry about speaking English or writing because that was not my strong suit. So I settled for science because I think that would be another creative way. I'm a creative person. So I settled for that, but I knew after 17 years, sometimes I love what I did because I know it does make an impact for the humanity. There's time that I felt like there's so much more out there if I could only take the courage, stepping out and find my voice. um, what does Lee want to do? So I changed my career 100-degree totally. And it's really rewarding because that's where I start learning to speak up. I start learning to go out and networking and how to create my own life the way I want it. And I think that is something that every one of us can do, because I never thought I'll be a writer or a speaker. I never even thought about, being a chemist. But if you set your mind to anything, I think that you can achieve. It's just a matter of time and how much you want to do it.
You talked a little bit about knowing about the saying, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. But you said it took you a long time to actually have that resonate with you. Oprah Winfrey, she has said that turn your wounds into wisdom. And your voice resonates through your book as you talk about how your refugee boat granted you physical freedom, but you say it was up to you to heal your broken spirit. So how did you heal from your wounds?
Well, I have a lot of friends, people that I model after, because me, myself, I don't have a lot of courage. But I think the most important part is surround yourself with the people that lift you up, that believe in you. You can always find somebody. It's a mentor, it's a friend. I'm lucky that I have surrounded myself with a lot of people that really inspire me. So yeah, so it was slow steps. Don't think about the big picture of overnight change. I think we all have that dream, but I think little by little, change for Toastmaster, one little speech at a time. For me, to get to the TEDx talk was a dream that I never thought I could achieve. But Toastmaster, I mean, one speech after the other, after hundreds of speeches, then you feel like, okay, maybe I'm ready. But you don't know until you test it. So just test it.
So tell us, how has your book writing journey, how is that coming? You actually published your book over the summer. Congrats on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think I call that the COVID baby. So I didn't miss my boat, because a lot of time we feel confined, we feel stuck in this uncertainty time. Just like when I was in the refugee camp, that 8 months was just like forever. And with COVID, we didn't know when it's going to end, right? So by March, I would start writing it last year, but the speed of the chapter going much faster when I didn't have to go out networking. I didn't have to do anything but focus on that one thing. And luckily, the people who helped me edit the book also available. So that's how the baby got formed really quickly. Within 6-7 months, the book was actually on the final leg of editorial. So I call that the opportunity that I would not have if we didn't have a confinement of COVID. So I think there's always opportunity. There's always the silver lining that you just have to look for it in the mid of adversity. And I think, if you look hard into it, you can come out to the other side with a product, with something different than when you get in. So I want to credit that to COVID-19.
Oh, wow. Well, everybody has had setbacks, and I like how you have made that a setup for your comeback. And it also reminds me, my mentor, John Maxwell, who deals a lot in leadership and communication, he says that he writes books for people that he'll never meet. How does it feel to know that your book has the potential to empower and inspire others to change and to find happiness? How does that feel?
Oh, it feels exciting. I am ecstatic. This book had meant to be written for many years, not because I thought I could be a writer, because I didn't think I could be a writer, but many of my friends say that I want to see that book. I want to see that as a movie. So people plant seeds in my head. And something that you don't think you can, I want to tell your audience that you can. Don't ever tell you that you can't, because if you put the focus in there, you are what you become. What are you? Whatever you believe, it will come out. And my most ecstatic is when people tell me that they didn't know, even my closest friends didn't know that all those little things that I've went through. And this book is to entertain. Well, because there's a lot of culture things that I have described in there between the East and the West, the difference. My background, very different from my parents' background, the culture, and things that we believe, and the periods that I lived inside the communist regime, and the difficulty that I've gone through during in the refugee camps, and how we assimilated into America. So there's many legs of journey, and my most satisfaction is when people tell me that they learned something in that book, and they say, "Wow! I mean, in the '90s or in the '80s, those times they correlated with what they've been doing here, and in the meantime, what the people in Vietnam have gone through." I mean, I know a lot of American people know about Vietnam War, but I don't know how much they actually know the life of the people in that Vietnam War. So this got a little bit of a history, social study type of culture touch in there. And those three things that I like this book to empower people: entertain, educate, and empower people. And that's what my hope is for.
I love one part of your TED Talk where you talked about when you were deciding to coming to America, you and your family, it really wasn't what you thought it would be, because you actually wanted to be in another state. What was it that you said?
So in the refugee camp, they gave us a paper, a form, and they were asking, pick your number one preference, what states you want to go when you leave, when you get to America. So my dad and I was going back and forth, and we said, let's pick Hawaii. We didn't even know where Hawaii was, but we know the name and we know it's warm. We picked Hawaii. January 3rd, we landed in Minnesota. 2 digits. It's like it's 10-degree weather and with snow everywhere. But I'm glad we did. We stayed there for 6 months, and we met the most wonderful, wonderful people in such a small town. It's only about 700 people in that town. It's called Onamia, in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota. And I love the people, and they took such a good care of us. But because my, opportunity is scarce, and my parents want to be with the Chinatown in Philly, so we moved. But I recently been reconnected with some of my the people who sponsor us. So it's very exciting. And actually, the pastor who sponsors us, actually, he's the chief editor for my book. So it went full circle.
Awesome. That is a great story. Well, you've gotten your TED Talk, you got better as a speaker and a communicator through Toastmasters. What's next for Lea Tran? I know you want to do more with your book now that it's finally published.
My dream is to do a book tour worldwide, because I think the story is very important for first-generation immigrants who felt like they missed it when they come to this country. They're struggling between the two different worlds, two different cultures, three different languages. My second wish is I would love to have all the high school students be able to read this book, because then they can understand the culture of the kids that coming into that school, more compassion, more empathy for people that who really need a simple thing, like be their friends or be kind to them. Very, very simple stuff, but when people are down the rock bottom, that little kind gesture they will remember forever. I mean, I still remember the people that gave me the love when we first settled here in America, and it's so important for kids to understand that. So that's my dream. Yeah, book tour and have my book read, the message spread out country-wise, worldwide. That would be my dream, and I'd love to speak too.
Tell us, how can people get more information about your coaching program, your book, and your book tour?
Well, thank you. You can find the information on leatran.com, TRAN.com. You can hear my TEDx talk if you're interested to hear the whole 15 minutes of it. You can also get a copy of my book, or you can buy it through Amazon. Now, I created a Facebook group, private group. It's called Build Your Own Boat. Is where I interact more intimate with my tribe. People want to know about me, want more question and answer, and eventually I will have a workshop that for people to share their story, because every single one of us have a journey, have a story that hidden inside. And I think until you able to talk it out and share it out, you will never have that peace that you want to have in order to move on. And I think this book is actually a big pressure release for me, a stress release. And I felt like I have take off my chest of everything I want to say. So I don't carry anything with me going on forward. I mean, I can die tomorrow and I'm happy because I don't take anything with me. Better leave something that people can learn from than keeping the story inside of you that you just, never be able to free from it. I call it the pirate. Don't let the pirates rob your freedom. And all the fear and all the other things is another form of a pirate that invisible, that's robbing you. And I got real pirates rob me, but they have already long gone. They already have family. They already die. Maybe they already, do whatever they go on with their life. I don't want to hold them in my life. I want to release them. I want to let them go by telling the story so other people can learn from what lesson I've learned and the journey that I have gone through.
Is there anything else you would like to add? You've given us so much already.
There's one quote that prompted me to write my book. It's from Ashley Judge. And she said, trauma not transform is trauma transfer. So if whatever that you have inherited from the circumstances, from your family, from whatever you think that you inherited or you form it, that hurt you in the past, if you don't transform it, eventually it will transfer to someone in your family, your next of kin. So you need to transform it. I think transform it is by healing it, by talking it out, and let it go.
Wow. I hate to let you go right now. It's been wonderful, but I'm so glad that you've been able to share a little bit about your journey as an author, as a speaker, as a coach. Thank you for the words of inspiration, and look forward to seeing you along the Toastmaster journey, because we are both Toastmasters and speakers. You're also with the National Speakers Association as well, aren't you?
Yes, I took a year National Speaker Association Academy. And yes, I'm launching my speaking career. So if you need a speaker for your association, nonprofit organization, I love to spread the message and encouraging people to empower themselves. Don't let the pirate keep them in one place.
Thank you. Amen. And don't miss the boat.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity, Dr. Sunny.
That's all the time we have on this edition of Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny. Again, thank you to my guest, Lea Tran, for sharing how not to miss the boat of opportunity. Would you like the opportunity to become a better presenter? I'm still excited announcing the start of my free monthly Speak and Shine workshop. This will be the second one. I'll help you unleash your inner speaking superpowers, some you didn't know you had. Now, spots are limited, and to sign up, go to my Facebook page at facebook.com/I Rise and Shine. And if you're not on social media, you can register at my website, sunnyfridge.com. You can also find links to all my shows and podcasts. Thanks for connecting. I'm Dr. Sunny. Remember, it's your time to rise and shine.